Un momento. Okay, we're on. Amir, how's it going as far as the quality goes?
You're good, no problem.
Okay, good. So, yeah, it's good that you brought it up because I noticed in past few days I didn't have good internet, and so something was up. So I'm glad we got into it.
Yeah, that's pretty fix it.
Yeah, I see. Uh, who was that? Was it me or someone else? So I see some new people here. All right, so let's just hang in there. We're going to start pretty soon. We're going to start pretty soon. So for the moment, I'm just waiting for the newcomers to jump in. While we're waiting, for those of you who are viewing our webinar via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, I'm not able to switch screens. Basically, if you want to communicate with me directly, my suggestion is for you to sign up via Zoom, actually via my website, and go to the Academy of Higher Consciousness, and we go from there. And that way we can see each other and talk to each other. And those of you who are viewing this from Instagram, I can't really answer your questions because it's very difficult for me, but I see you're waving at me. I appreciate it. But if you want to have direct connection and talk to me, the best is to sign up from my website, which is zarathustra.tv. Also, I'd like to mention that we're going to have two coming events. One of them is I'm going to offer an online workshop, and that's going to be at the end of April. After the, I lost my train of thought. What is that vacation coming on the 17th of April? Hilde, the one in Norway, Sweden. Easter. Easter. So after Easter, European Easter, I'm going to be offering an online workshop, probably for 3 or 4 days. I'm putting it together now. And it's very much possible that I offer the 5D Quantum Awareness Retreat in Sweden. And it's going to, most probably, it's going to be the first week of June. Where normally we offer it, which is in Ore at Bustaman. They gave me 2 dates, and one of the dates is in June and one is in October. And I don't trust October because I think, they're going to shut things down again. So I just feel like if we're going to do it, we might as well do it as soon as possible before they shut things down and they put us back into our cages. So so I think I'm just going to go for that one. But I need to contact them and get the specifics and become more clear about it. So at least we can meet in person. And I would love to, a number of you, I've been seeing you online, but I haven't met you in person yet. So I would love to see you in person and go on from there. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Hilda, you had some suggestions.
That was just a suggestion.
Yeah, I know, but can you go over it with me again?
Yeah, of course. I was thinking about how important it is to be mentally and emotionally strong these times. These days about COVID and Putin and Ukraine, and the world is a little bit crazy.
Okay. Emotionally and mentally strong. Okie dokie. That sounds good.
Great.
Very good. So, shoot, what did I do? I messed up. All right. Okay. All right. Uno momento. And then we're going to start in one quick moment. Just give me one moment, please. I just want to check on one thing before I start, and then we're going to get going. Very good. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, broadcasting live from Tulum, Mexico. Those of you who are new or first time with me, we're going to start with a silent meditation for about...
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me. Oh, okay. All right, so we start. Well, welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, your host. We're going to start with a 15 minutes to maybe 30-minute meditation, depending how long the meditation wants to last. And then after that, I'm going to talk about the topic of the day, which is how to remain mentally and emotionally strong during these times. And what can we do to maintain our balance? And after that, you're welcome to ask me your questions, or you can write it to me. Those of you, and I'm basically addressing to those of you who are on the Zoom, so you can communicate with me directly. Just one moment, I just noticed I got some messages here. My topic, proposition, Buddha inside me, how keep the state of Buddha inside me, okay, and not feeding into fear like MS Media would like, blah, 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 but most of us probably already know that that's gifts. Okay, great. I thank you for the messages. I will address them. Cool. For the moment, is a very simple meditation is that basically, and if you get this right, it basically works every single time. And what I discovered is when you turn your attention inwards, and you look for this and you follow your thoughts, it's very simple. You close your eyes and you just check out your thoughts. You observe your thoughts. And as you're observing your thoughts, and you don't need to get involved with the content of what you're thinking, okay? So you're simply looking at your thoughts. You're hearing your thoughts. When I say look at your thoughts, what I mean that you're hearing it, you're witnessing it, that's what I mean. You're seeing it, whatever is happening, and it's easier for you in the moment, okay? So don't get hung up over like details, like, oh, I'm not seeing my thoughts, but I'm hearing my thoughts. It doesn't matter, hearing, observing, or seeing them. So you're hearing these noise and blah, 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 blah is going on. And instead of trying to stop it, which it's fruitless because you're trying to stop your mind with your mind, and that's not going to work, is what you do is you follow the stream of the thoughts back to the source. Where do they come from? And you just kind of follow it. It's like you're following this thread and you go back. And what happens is because they come from nowhere, and when you follow them to the stream of the thoughts, you fall into silence. And it goes, your mind becomes quiet. The mind doesn't have much power when you become attentive. Its power is when you're not attentive. By being attentive means as soon as you start waking up and you're just looking from here to the mind, all of a sudden you realize there is no mind, there's no thoughts. But when you kind of fall asleep to the mind, not falling asleep physically, you're falling asleep to the mind, then it takes over. But it has no power if you're attentive to it. Now, if you're haggling with your mind, am I muted? Can you hear me? Oh, I got muted. Okay. If you're haggling with the mind and you're trying to resist the mind, so you're trying with the mind, you're saying, I don't want to think, I'm so frustrated, stop. I don't want to think. Now you're resisting the mind. The more you resist, the more it persists. It gets stronger. You don't need to fight it. All you have to do is you awaken to the noise and you check it out. Oh, okay, there's noise happening here. Let me look. And you're looking inwards. And all of a sudden it disappears. It's no longer there. It loses its power. So let's do that. Simply close your eyes and relax. Now, hold on, before we do this. Now, some of you, maybe you're used to breath work. Maybe you're bringing your attention on your breath. So you're watching your breathing. So you're breathing in, you're breathing out. If that works for you, do that. If you bring your attention here to your third eye and that's what makes you become quiet, then do what it works for you. But this is a suggestion that works. So let's just give it a try and see what happens. Okay? All right. Close your eyes and dive in. Just relax. Don't try. Don't fight. Simply take a look at your thoughts and follow the thoughts to its source in a very gentle way without really trying to make anything happen. And then you will see you fall into silence. Slowly come back. Come back here. So we all know this is a strong time that we're going through. In comparison to, let's say, 10 years ago or before the COVID. But the drama of life is going to continue to appear and reappear. It's never going to end. And there are times that things seem to be easy or relaxed, tranquilo, and there are times that it looks like it's crazy. So, and right now is one of those times that things appear to be crazy, but in a way, it's a blessing in a way, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you're challenged spiritually is when you have the biggest amount of your growth spiritually. When things are really easy, we're not going to pay any attention to the spirit. So let's say before the COVID, for example, things are really happening, and let's say if the economy is really good, we're all making money and it's easy to travel around, and who thought about that there would be a time that you can't even go in a restaurant and sit there and order food. So, or you can't travel, or you can't go to your mother's house, or you can't go to your community center, uh, or you can't go to the mall. We never thought about it before the COVID that is possible, it may happen. And then what happened is after the COVID, so your very like basic things that we were all doing was taken away from us. Like the ability to go in a restaurant, sit there and order some food. Now, when things are open and you go in a restaurant, sit down, order some food, you have a different appreciation for it. Number one, you don't know how long that's going to last. Number two is you're really present. Oh, wow, I can go sit in a restaurant and a waiter comes over and I order food. Now, there is still a lot of jumping jacks, like, okay, like in California, when I go back, is like you have to wear a mask in order to talk to the hostess. And then while you're walking to go sit at your table, you have to wear a mask. But when you sit at the table, you can take your mask off. That means the virus is only up here, and when you sit down, it's not down here. Okay? And if you're walking in a restaurant and you want to go to the bathroom, you have to put a mask. So the virus doesn't exist on the lower part of the restaurant. It only exists on the upper part of the space. So it's funny. But also, one thing happened is they shut everything down and they've pushed everybody to stay inside for about 6 months, 9 months, or a year. And it forced people to go inwards and to look inside, to dig deeper in their spirituality. And some of us lost friends, families to COVID. And so I remember from a book I read like a very long time ago from Dan Millman. The title of it is The Way of the Spiritual Warrior. This was published like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. At the end of the book, there's a sentence. It says, we go to the spirit when our foundation is shaken, only to find out that it is the spirit who shakes it. We go to the spirit when our foundation is shaken, only to find out that it is the spirit who shakes it. So ordinarily, nobody's interested in consciousness or God when things are going well. You have your lover, you got your kids, you're making a lot of money, you're famous, things are going your way. Who gives a damn about God? Who cares about looking inwards? Things are groovy. I'm getting what I want in the world. And then you're diagnosed with cancer and you're only 40 years old, and then all of a sudden you're going to lose everything you have. Then you're going to dig deep inside that why am I going to die young? Or you lose someone close to you, and then it forces you to go inwards. Or you had a car accident and you almost died, and then you kind of wake up to the truth of who you are and wake up to the reality that your life may end at any moment. Because we have a tendency to get very lazy. We have a tendency to fall into the rhythm of keep repeating the same thing. And we fall asleep that everything is always going to be there. Oh, my mom is always going to be there. My friend is always going to be there. And okay, if I don't see my friend today, I'll see him in 6 months. But he's always there until your friend is no longer there. So, oh, money is always coming in, and I don't even think about it. So I'm spending it. Oh, these people are always going to be loving me. So I don't really pay much attention to them until they just walk away from you. So something normally on a spiritual path, when you're in this business that we're all in, I call it this spiritual business. You're in it, something like, I would call it shock treatment. Something needs to happen to wake you up. And then you start digging into your own self. So that's where this sentence comes, that we go to the spirit, we go towards God, we go towards consciousness, wanting to find out the answers when our foundation is shaken. When all of a sudden something happens in your life, you're about to lose your partner, you're about to lose your home, or you're about to die, you lost your job, and you're worried you're going to be on the street. Something happens, your foundation is shaken, you're challenged. So now you go towards the spirit. You're reading spiritual books, you go see spiritual teachers, you're digging in, you're meditating, only to find out that it was the spirit who shook it. So, only to find out that it was God itself, it was consciousness that pulled the plug on you. So, now your attention starts to go back to God, to spirituality, to love. And that's the case for, I would say, 99% of the spiritual seekers. And it's definitely the case on me, because when things are really going well, I forget about everything. Who cares about God? I got money flowing in. I'm going to the parties. I'm traveling. I'm doing everything I want. Who gives a shit about God? As long as things go my way. And then when things don't go my way, then I wake up. All of a sudden, awakening comes. You're questioning things. You're digging in. So, what I want to say is you can look at the COVID and the whole situation as a blessing, because it's forcing you to question things. It's forcing you to get into and looking at the nature of existence. And you're asking questions, why? And you're digging in. And some of our very basic rights or privileges we had are taken away. So all of a sudden we're out of our comfort zone, and now it wakes you up and you're going inwards. In another way, let's put it this way. You're swimming in the ocean and you went for a swim, and somehow it's just nice. You keep going deeper in the ocean, and now all of a sudden you're like a kilometer away from the shore, and the waves are getting a little bit weird, and you're getting tired, and if you go a little bit further, you may get drowned. And all of a sudden the guru, the master, Her Majesty, the Supreme, comes to your life and starts calling you back. Says, come back, turn around, come back to the safety, come back to the shores. And it comes and leads you back, because otherwise you're going to get drowned. And getting drowned in what? In life. Getting drowned in your ego, getting drowned in your desires, getting drowned in your jealousy, getting drowned into, I don't have enough, I'm not being loved. Why is my sister married to a very rich guy and I'm not? Why is my friend so successful and I'm not? Or you're making a lot of money and you're very successful, and you start getting this sense that you're all powerful, I'm mighty, I can move the mountains, I can do whatever I want. And yeah, it's you, and you can see it in different fractions of the society. People who their ego gets bigger and bigger. You can see it in actors, actresses, athletes, politicians, famous people. And then all of a sudden something happened. Something happened in their lives, like great basketball players, number one basketball player in the world, all the eyes on this guy, and his ego is super big. And then something happens to his knee and he can't play basketball anymore. So his ego got really inflated, and then something happens to him physically and he cannot perform the way he used to, and he gets deflated and he just crashes. And the next thing you hear is the guy is not in a league, and then he's depressed and he becomes alcoholic, and then he commits suicide. You see it with musicians, famous rock stars. You see it with actors, actresses, because their ego got so big, and then existence comes and pulls the plug on them. So what I'm saying is that this situation with COVID, or this situation with the war in Ukraine, yes, it's unfortunate, of course. I mean, we all have compassion for our brothers, sisters on both sides, Ukrainians and Russians. Whomever is going to get killed or gets dismembered, they lose a limb or an arm or something, of course we don't want that for them. They lose their homes. But this war, how is it affecting you? It's not in your homeland. So how is it affecting you? It's affecting you emotionally. And what does it do? It makes you feel insecure, creates insecurity. And then the media begin to inflate everything and create more fear, worry, anxiety, that there may be a third world war, and we all gonna be dead, or we're gonna be destroyed. First of all, if we're all gonna die and be destroyed, so what? We're all gonna be in it together. If there is a third world war and majority of the population dies, I don't want to live, because most of my friends and family died. You know, it's not fun to be alive somewhere which is all bombed and there's all kinds of radioactive everywhere. I don't want to live that life. But let's get back to this thing, is that things not necessarily are bad. What you want to do as a spiritual warrior, you want to learn how to turn the poison to medicine. Be an alchemist of your own life. Learn to be an alchemist. So a negative situation that appears to be negative, like what's going on right now, you want to turn that in your advantage. You can't control the world. You can't control the war. You can't control what is going on. You can't control COVID. Okay, so you don't have any power over that. But maybe you can control the way you react to things. Maybe you can look at it from a different angle and see, wow, all of a sudden war is going to be in Ukraine and Russia. That gives me an opportunity to be thankful for what I have. I live in Copenhagen, I live in Stockholm, I live in Oslo, I live in Vienna or Frankfurt or Nashville, Tennessee. Thank God there is no war in my country or in my city. There may be, but for the moment, I'm going to be grateful for what I have. And not fall asleep that things are always going to be the same, that things always should be the same. That's the tendency of the mind, that things should always be the same. Things are never going to be the same, never. Always going to change. And it's especially when you have entered the path of self-realization, you have come to this path, then you're definitely going to be challenged. Because you have been invited to come to the path of self-realization. It's an invitation which has taken place by Her Majesty. The Supreme Soul has chosen you to come on the spiritual path. It was God, consciousness, that decided that it's time for you, for me, to wake up. So that's an honor that Her Majesty, the Supreme, out of 7 billion people on this planet, and God knows how many more other beings in the rest of the galaxy, the rest of the universe. I mean, we're not even going to go there, but let's just come here. Has called a few of us to become awake and to discover ourselves. That's an honor. So right here, you want to be grateful and feel privileged that God has called you home. Now, coming back home, you're going to get your ass kicked because you need your ass to be kicked. Otherwise, you're going to stay asleep like the rest of the world. Now, what does that mean? To stay asleep. Why you're getting your ass kicked? Because it forces you to pay attention to the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are. It forces you to wake up to who you are. And who are you? I would like you to, after today, spend some time and kind of check in, look inside, ask yourself, who am I? Who are you really? Are you this body? Are you your name, your last name? This nationality that's been given to you that you are so attached to, and you're willing to go to war and kill other people because you are, I am Russian, or I am Norwegian, or I am American. Are you your nationality? Are you your religion? That you're also willing to go kill other people, bomb them, dismember them, shoot them because of your religious beliefs? Are you your profession? Oh, I'm an engineer. I'm a doctor. I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. Who are you really? And you need to dig in. You got to figure that out. I can't tell you, because if I just tell you who you are, it's got no value because you didn't spend any time trying to figure it out yourself. You have to discover that yourself. And once you go in deeper inside, because these are opportunities for us to go inwards, to dig in, and to discover the truth of who we are. And once you get closer and you start getting glimpses of who you are, then you start to see that who you are cannot be destroyed and cannot be damaged. And it's much greater and bigger than who you thought you were. Because who you think you are is needy, is jealous, It gets angry easily. It's like a little kid. Always things have to go your way. If things don't go your way, you throw a fit. It's impatient. It's stingy. It's got all these, it's afraid all the time. All the time afraid. Very emotional, it's got a lot of ups and downs. Easily gets hurt. Check it out for yourself. Don't take my words. Just dig in there, take a look. That's who we think we are. But when you start realizing who you really are, then it's as if you're rising above. It's like your vibration's rising to a higher level. It's like your wings are opening up. It's like all of a sudden you begin to fly. And you're starting to experience life beyond your imaginations. Because you thought life is what you're watching in TV. Life is what you're living right now. Limited, full of fear, uncertainties, anxieties. Oh, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me? Oh, what's going to happen to my country or my children? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You all are going to die. Okay? Let me make it very easy for you. You're all, including me, are all going to die. Okay? So don't worry. Look and see if anyone, any powerful man or woman in this life ever escaped death. You know your destiny already. Why are you worried? I don't understand. Why are you throwing a fit? You know where you're going to end. Why do you act like it's different for you and that's not going to happen to you and you're so worried about it? Death is your final destination. Why you pretend? And you don't want to hear about it. You don't want to talk about it. When the conversation comes at lunch, dinner table, everybody's acting like it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's where you're going to end up. So, what do you want to do? You got this much time. What do you want to do with this time? Do you want to live? Or you want to live in fear and worry and anxiety, what's going to happen to my country or what's going to happen to me? I don't care. And life doesn't give a shit what you do. It's you who's going to miss it. And then, if there is something such as reincarnation, you're going to have to come back and do another round. Maybe you've done 1,000 rounds and you didn't get it. So why don't we just take care of business right now while we have some time? Why don't we go for it? Why so much worry and anxiety? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to the world? Who gives a shit what's going to happen to the world? The world is always going to be the world. You weren't here 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. So whatever wanted to happen, happened, and you're not going to be here 40, 50 years from now on. So who cares what's going to happen? Well, I'm really concerned about the world. Well, I'm not concerned about the world, to be honest with you. The only thing I'm concerned about is the quality of my life in this moment. How do I live now? How do I deal with this moment? am I really going to breathe the air? Am I going to be really experience being in this body? Am I really going to show my love to the people I love? Am I going to enjoy a motorcycle ride on the road? Do I really taste food? Am I tasting food, or the whole time on my phone sending text messages or worried about who thinks about me on Instagram or what's going on in Ukraine, and it's very important. I really need to know what's happening there, as if, I have something to say. Conquer yourself first. So what we want to do is, it's very simple. We only have one job in this life. Just stay focused on your mission and don't get distracted by all these other stuff, because these stuff are not new. They've been around. So let's say if 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you lived in Southeast Asia, then there was the Vietnam War. You dealt with that. 20 years before that, they created the Korean War. Then before that, it was the World War II. Then before that, it was World War I. Then before that, there was another thing. So this thing is not going to stop. It's always going to continue appearing and reappearing all the time. Right now, it's COVID, right? What about if you lived in 1980, 81, 82? What happened then? First, they came up with herpes. Then everyone was freaked out about herpes. Then herpes didn't really hit hard. Then they came up with AIDS. You remember at that time how freaked out everybody was over AIDS? And yeah, it killed a lot of people. I understand. And COVID killed a lot of people. But same as Vietnam War, same as World War II, it killed a lot of people. This thing is never going to end. The idea of a utopian life is a great idea, but leave it alone and just mind your own business. What is your own business? Minding your own business. What is that? Start to dive inwards. Discover the love that exists in your heart. Discover the fact that the presence of God, the creator of this universe, is right here inside you. And it has already called you home. It's already touched you. There's no way in the world you would come to this webinar if you didn't have love for God. If God had not touched you, you wouldn't be here. The Spirit, you don't like the word God because we're associating it with religion, and I understand that. The Spirit has come to your life and touched you. It has shown itself to you. Now, the more you work on yourself, the more you recognize the presence here, that every breath you take, that's God, that's Spirit. Because the moment the Spirit leaves your body falls down, means you're dead. The only reason you're alive is because the Spirit is here in your life, in your body. Recognize that. Wow, what an honor. Her Majesty is operating through me, and that's why I'm alive. How can I miss that and get really focused on bullshit, nonsense stuff? Recognizing that the Spirit is touching me, the Spirit is talking to me, is loving me, and allowing me to experience the love for myself, for my family, for my children, for my animals, for my friends, for nature. Instead, I'm so worried about, oh, Ukraine and what's going to happen and what's going to happen with COVID. And then I keep missing this moment. I keep missing the Jews. You see that? That's why God comes and kicks your ass. And you're going through a hard time because you keep forgetting and you keep swimming deep inside the ocean, and they come and kick your ass and they pull you back. They say, come back this way. But you think that life doesn't like you and bad things happen to you all the time. Yeah, they happen to you all the time because you're not paying attention. That's why they keep happening to you. Pay attention. The more you start paying attention, the less shock treatments you need. They don't need to come and give you shock treatments because you're paying attention. And if something happens, something bad happens to your life, you have already grown up and developed the maturity to stay centered. Because every once in a while you're going to be challenged. You're going to grow spiritually to a certain point. And then all of a sudden what happens is your inner guru, the master, comes and says, okay, Monica, you've done a great job, but now we're going to challenge you. So all of a sudden, maybe you lose your home. All of a sudden you lose your job. One day you go to work and they say, hey, you know, we don't have the budget and we're going to have to let you go. And if you have spiritually matured, and the moment they fire you, you don't freak out. You don't go, oh, I'm fired, I lose everything. You don't become like a little kid. You're just centered. And then when they say you're fired, you say, okay, thank you. And you know inside, one door closed and another door is going to open for you. So that means existence is going to give you something else, even better. But they're testing to see, you're being tested. Are you going to stay the Buddha? Are you the Buddha? Are you centered? Or you're going to bend out of shape in 2 minutes? Nobody knows until you're in a situation. And I promise you, I guarantee that that's the only thing I can guarantee, that each and every one of us is going to be tested every once in a while. That's a part of the deal. Because you have to go this ladder of spirituality one step at a time to the peaks, to the highest peak of self-realization. And that's not going to happen until you're tested. You have to demonstrate your maturity, your spiritual maturity. And then you go to the next level. Then you get to the next level. Do you think spiritual teachers are not being challenged? Do you think gurus or even enlightened beings are exempt from being challenged? If you think that way, you're absolutely wrong. Because many spiritual gurus that are not 100% awakened, okay? Her Majesty creates a situation to pull the plug on them, and they fall off the grace. That's why every once in a while one of them is caught with their pants down. One of them gets caught because of something they did, and they fall off the grace. Because even in that level, they forgot and they went into their ego and they forgot. And Her Majesty comes and pulls the plug on them and they fall. And then Spirit says, okay, Master Spiritual Guru, show me who you are now. What you got now? You lost all of your followers and you're in disgrace because sexual harassment or whatever. You said you're celibate, but you went and slept with girls. It's not a bad thing. You can go sleep with girls, but don't say I'm celibate. So you're screwed up. So even spiritual people are not exempt because this thing is never going to end. It's always ever expanding endeavor. You're always discovering the power of the being, which is infinite. So it's never going to end. It will always continue. So, what do we do in times like this? You come back to your center. You go beyond the mind and you practice being still. Still means what? You train yourself not to react because there's the pendulum of life. Everything is good, it swings, everything is bad. You feel really good, then it swings, you feel horrible. Things are going your way, then it swings, things are falling apart. So if you're investing your happiness and well-being based on what is happening in the outside world, and you're looking for security in the outside world, then you're in trouble. Because you're going to be challenged all the time. You have to find the still point inside yourself, which doesn't have ups and downs. You have to find this place within yourself that it's neither up or down. So then when everything is going your way, you are not attached to that. You're enjoying it, but you're not attached to it. And then when everything falls apart, you're not affected by it and you're not getting bent out of shape because you have discovered the place within yourself. And it's not depending on the outside conditions. Does this make any sense? Okay, good. Now, if anybody has any questions, please feel free. You can unmute yourself on the Zoom and ask me the question, or you can write to me. I mean, it's easier if you just talk to me directly. Feel free. Or you have any comments, you're welcome to communicate with me.
Hi, Zarathustra.
Hi.
My question is more so, I was going to ask you this last week, but anyway, can you elaborate on mirror work and what you mean by that?
On what?
Mirror work.
Mere work.
Yeah. You've mentioned it a few times, and you write it sometimes in your on your posts.
You said mirror, like mirror, or mirror, like only.
No, mirror like a mirror.
Right. Okay. So can you be a little bit more specific?
Let me see what you wrote. Because you tend to write it on, like, you know, your hashtags.
Uh-huh.
So usually has mirror work on a hashtag. So I just wanted to know if you could elaborate on that and what that entails.
Well, basically, mirror is like when you look in a mirror, what do you see? You see yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So, and when we're doing this work, what normally we do is we have a tendency to point the finger at other people, other situations. Like we're putting the finger on COVID. We're putting the finger on Putin or Russia and Ukraine. But we don't put the finger on ourselves. If something happens to me, let's say someone stole money from me or somebody screwed me over, I have a tendency of blaming them. Or I'm in a relationship and somebody leaves me, and let's say somebody cheated on me and went with another man. I'm hanging out with one woman and she cheated on me and went with someone else. So we have a tendency in blaming them. We're not looking at ourselves. So when I'm referring to mirror work is like everything always starts and ends with myself, not anyone else. And I use it as an opportunity to look at myself. What am I missing? Why am I getting screwed? Why is someone stealing money from me? What is it that I'm not paying attention within myself? Is this losing money or someone cheated me? Does it mean I need to stay still? Does it mean I need to look at my shortcomings? Am I really a dingy and I'm not paying attention to things? What is it that I'm not looking at? And that's when you get to that point, you have spiritually advanced and matured to a certain degree that you're not blaming others or the world for what is happening to you. You're starting with yourself. That's what I mean.
Okay, thanks.
I hope I answered your question. If not, we can talk about it more. Feel free to bring it up. Was it a satisfactory answer or not?
Yeah, it was. It was just you. Last week you mentioned like the people that are your biggest triggers are your biggest gurus.
Yes.
And so I thought like, okay, the mirror work has to also apply to that, and see what is happening within that might like have the same experience happening again through whoever is that person or whatever that situation is.
Yes. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you really look at it, all right, your world is very, very small. And I'm not talking about you, Shadi, okay? What is your world? How many people are you in touch with in general?
For me?
Anyone?
Is it a,
oh,
is it a question?
Yeah,
or?
okay. So,
yeah, my world is pretty small, actually. You're
okay.
Right. I'm not in touch with too many people.
Right. Great. So, and you just count the number of people that you're dealing with, the people that you're intimate with in different levels. You know, it's your family, maybe your kids, your husband or wife, co-workers. But when you add everything up together, maybe altogether, maybe 30 people, 40 people, 20 people at a time. And then, you know, that maybe 20 people change. Some people come and go. But if you look at it, I mean, there is like 7 billion people on this planet, okay? But do you ever encounter them? I don't even know if they exist or they don't exist because I was given a number. Now, let's say I go to a busy town, I'm in Los Angeles, or I go to Bali and I'm in like Seminyak. How many people do I see? You know, 500, 1,000 people at one point? Or maybe I go to a stadium and there's a football match and there's 100,000 people sitting there. Wow. But how often am I around this many people? But my world is consist of, well, I'm a teacher, so I have more people in my life. But average people, they basically work dealing with their family, their friends, and co-workers. When you add everything up together, it comes to like 30 people. And that's what you go through in one lifetime. You're always dealing with 20, 30 people throughout your life. And these people appear in your life and they're the mirror, especially when you're intimate with them, with the family, with lovers, with kids. There's this karmic contract with them of some sort of intimacy and connection that you have to deal with them, whether you like them or you don't like them, whether they're abusive to you or they're loving or challenging you. So, but they represent an aspect of yourself, and we have to deal with it. There's like no way out. You got to deal with it. And each one, if you put yourself in the center and you put these people in a circle around you, okay, so you're standing in the center and you have a circle of people around you, and you look at this person, then you turn and look at that person, then you a little bit turn, let's say clockwork, and you look at another person, and each of this people is an aspect of who you are. They represent a part of who you are. And when we look at it that way, this is going to give you an opportunity to discover yourself. You can turn it around. When you're spiritually become more mature, you understand that you can turn this around. Rather than they're them, you can look at them as you, me. These are all me. And then you begin to discover things. Because basically our conditioning is that everything is separated. We believe that there is a separation because that's how we feel. That's how we have not learned how to tap into the collective mind and the collective emotions. So everything is separated. But once you start to shift and your awareness starts to expand, then you begin to realize that really there's never been anything outside of yourself, and there's never been a separation. It just doesn't exist. Separation doesn't exist. It only appears to be separated. So Russia fighting Ukraine, you start seeing like this is a dance of existence, because they're just one. There's no separation between them. They're just playing. Consciousness is playing with itself. Consciousness is going to war with itself. There is nobody there to go in war against. It just appears to be that way. It's an appearance. And the higher level of consciousness, you go beyond the appearance. Because you don't have a choice. At one point, you need to make this leap to go beyond what it appears to be separated, to recognize that there is no others, do not exist. Others do not exist. There is only one. That one appears as many, but there are no many. Many doesn't exist. It's only one. And I understand it takes time for this to click. I get it. I completely understand that. And you don't want to beat yourself up. And I'm not just talking to you, Shadi. I'm talking to my audience all over the world, okay? As your awareness expands, as your vibrations rise to a higher frequency, you realize like the COVID, the whole story, the whole da-da-da-da is also you. It's yourself. There is no separation. Because it's impossible for anything to be separated from anything. It's not possible. It's non-existing. There's never been a separation. Because separation doesn't exist. Only when it appears, it looks like it's separated. And it appears to those who haven't developed the vision to see it. When you develop the vision, then you are very clear that it's non-existing. It's never existed. And you can use very simple, you can use very simple methods, very simple analogy for it to get an idea of it. For example, you are breathing the same air as Jesus Christ, as the Buddha. You're breathing the same air as Napoleon, same air as Hitler, same air as George W. Bush, same air you're breathing as Biden or Trump or Putin or Mother Teresa or hugging Mother Amaji, Albert Einstein, and everybody else on this planet. There's no new air being imported into the planet air. It's the same air you're breathing. This air has been recycled through every being on this planet. So don't you think some of the molecules atoms of those beings are transferred to you. It's the same water you've been drinking. And this water you're drinking, billions of people drank it, they peed it, they pooped it, it went back to earth, it got recycled, and now you're drinking it. And it's a bottle, it's called Evian, and it looks really great. But you don't know you're drinking the piss of somebody who lived on this planet 5,000 years ago. Does that make you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Right. There is nothing, everything you eat. You eat some nice, you're vegan or vegetarian and you're only eating fresh organic vegetables. Somebody put that stuff at one point. It went into the soil, it turned to vegetables, and you're eating it. So if you just expand a little bit, you can physically see like everything you're coming in contact, it is a part of another human being or another animal or vegetation or bacteria or viruses. They're all the same. And when you die, where do you go? What do they do with your body? Billions of people, trillions of people die. What do they do with them? Most of them are buried, right? And in some cultures are burned. Well, when they bury you, they put you in the soil, and maggots start eating you, and then something eats the maggots, and something eats that one who ate the maggot, and it just comes back. It recycles. Let's say they burn you. Okay, so you turn to smoke. Where do you go? Do you go outside of the atmosphere? You turn to clouds, and then you turn to rain, and then you rain back, and you come back to the soil. It's all the one. It's all the same one. Because there's only one anyway. There's never been two. But the concept of one, because when you come to the realization it's all one, you can't say to yourself, it's all one, because it doesn't exist. The one does not exist. The one needs two to exist, because the one doesn't even know it is here. It has to create something to measure itself against it. So you need two for the concept of one. So you have to have duality. So oneness makes sense. But in oneness, there is no such a thing as oneness, because there is nothing else. Is this making any sense to anybody? Or I want you to spend some time and think about it. If you ever reach oneness, then how do you know? It's a concept, it's a theory for a spiritual seeker to seek oneness. But when you reach oneness, there is nothing to seek or compare to. So it just kind of disappears. So what I want to say is enjoy these moments and don't get caught by what's right, what's wrong, what's going on in the world. Enjoy the fact that you can experience these things, even the pain you're going through. Because in your original state, there's nothing. So the only time you're going to experience something and be able to touch, you're going to make love to someone and you can touch their body and really hug them, like it or not like it. Or you're going to eat a meal and you're really enjoying eating the meal because you are in duality. And that's the only time you can experience it, because you're in duality. In oneness, there is nothing. So what we do is we get rid of the noise, and we don't get involved with the noise, the dance of existence, and you just come back here. Learn to come back here. Here in this moment. Practice that. Practice enjoying, appreciating this moment. No matter, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, because your world only includes 20 people in it, 30 people in it. Your world is Toronto with a few blocks around you, because that's all you're going to experience. Maybe from there you go to Vancouver, but then you're only going to experience a very limited thing. Not only you, me. We, in our mind, going to imagine a world with 7 billion people, a world in chaos. But if you come back here, your world is peaceful. There's no war in it. But we have a tendency to miss that and not enjoying it, missing this moment, being caught up in an imagination of something which doesn't exist. Ukraine, Russia do not exist because you're not there, you're here. They're just a story to you. It's a story someone's telling you, but you're not touching it. You're not experiencing it. You don't even know what it is. So how could it be your world? It's just equal to, I tell you about life on Mars. I don't know, life on Russia and life on Mars, to me it's the same. I don't know either of it. Because I can't touch it. I can't smell it. I can't have any connection to it. It's non-existing. Or people say there is a continent called Africa. In this continent, the majority of their inhabitants are Black people. This is like a story to me. Because I don't know. I've never been there. I have no idea. You can just tell me majority of this, if people on that continent are aliens or they're ants. It won't make any difference to me because I don't know any of it. We, as an individual, as the expression of the Absolute, having a very limited experience and vision in this period of time, from the time you were born to the time you die. It's extremely limited. Okay, Why don't I enjoy this limited time I have here and not worry about things outside of here? And that's what most people do. They miss the juice, they miss it because they're too worried, too busy worrying about things that they have no idea about, things that don't exist in the reality. Is this making any sense to anyone? Please just give me a little sign because I'm not sure. Did I go to channel 2 or channel 3? Did I get too deep? Train yourself to come back here and don't get caught in these stories of the mind because they're basically non-existing. So what happens when you take a vacation and you go to Hawaii or Tahiti or you come to Tulum and you're here for 1 month or you go to Canary Islands? What happened? And you're having a great time. You go there with your partner, you go there with your girlfriend, your guy friend, you're having so much fun. You go helicopter riding over Kauai, you go to drum circle in Maui, you go to some party at night on the beach, you go to the naked beach, you go swim with the dolphins and turtles, and you forget about the war in Ukraine and you forget about COVID. And you're having a blast. What happens to the war and to the virus? Where did it go? You forgot about it. You're having a great time with your buddy and you forgot, as if you don't give a shit. It disappears. It becomes non-existing. Then you come back home and everything comes back with it. When you were in Hawaii, what happened to it? Where did it go? Has ever anybody gone on a vacation and completely forgot about their life in where they were living? Yeah. You live in your own individual bubble in this life. And this thing is very limited. Everything else outside of the experience you're having is basically non-existence. It's non-existing. And I know somebody may come and tell you, oh, that's a very ignorant way, because what about other people and other places and you have no compassion? On the contrary, I have to say, that's not true. I do have compassion. But I'm also awakened to the truth of who I am. I don't live in illusion. So just because I'm not sharing the same illusion and the fear and worries as you do, that doesn't mean I don't know what's up. All right. I hope I was able to help you a little bit. We have a little bit time left. Anybody has anything to say, or you want to ask me a question or anything?
Hey, Zarathustra.
Hi, Casey. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hey, this kind of goes back to what you touched on a little bit earlier. I was just thinking, for me, it gets extremely confusing because you know how a lot of people, spiritual teachers, whatever, will say that you create your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking at that concept, okay, you say, okay, fine, I create my own reality. I create everything around, whatever. I'm.
Okay, hold on a second, Casey. Let me ask you a question. Did you create this reality? You have any recollection of it?
I don't have any recollection of it.
Okay, then it stops right there.
This is what I was going to say is if you create your own reality, and this also touches on the mirror thing, like say you have a wife that you've had a perfect relationship, and then all of a sudden she lost her mind one day and she goes and cheats on you.
Right.
Or say you have a child, say you have two children that your wife gave birth to, and then they passed away. Like those types of things, it's hard to accept that you create your own reality.
Absolutely. Or you do a shitty job in creating realities. So you need to go to Tony Robbins, and he teaches you very well how to create the right reality. So you need to go sign up in the course. Because you don't know how to create your own reality. You do a shitty job.
Yeah, obviously.
Right, exactly. You need to go back to the course and pay another $5,000 for a reminder of how you can create it correctly, because you didn't learn that the first time. No, you don't. It's created. And just know, everything I say is a concept. But it's like before you enter into this life, the Ishwari, the creator, is like, put a note for you, and it's like, okay, this is the life you need to live, because these are the lessons you need to learn in this life. And these are the characters. So you get this contract with these other characters that they're going to come to your life. One is going to come as your child who's going to die. One is going to be your child who becomes a genius. This guy is going to come in your life and screw you over. So you got a contract with all these people, and you're going to come into this life, and you're going to have to go through this script. You're going to have to experience all these different things. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought it was as well. But I always hear people say, like, you create your reality. Like what you see is you created it.
Right.
And it just gets really confusing, especially when you deal with big traumas.
Well, yeah, that's the pseudo spirituality. That's why the pseudo spirituality has not produced any enlightened being, any free being. It cannot produce free being. It's designed to keep you back in your mind. So you're mind fucking all the time. The entire time, you're more confused. And maybe you do a little visualization and that thing appears, and it's like a little carrot that, okay, you get a little cookie because, oh, I created this. But there is no end to it. There's no liberation. Here, the only thing I'm interested in is to help you become liberated, to become free. Liberation of the world of the mind and the circle of life and death. So you rise above it. That's why it's not very popular. Because it's not that hip. It's not in. It's not the hot item that it's for sale. This requires looking inwards. And people don't want that. Give me something, Mr. Teacher, so I can use this to get what I want. That is a hot selling item. Give me something so I can get what I want. Because most people are not interested about doing the work. They just want a pill. Give me the pill, so I'm fixed. It's like the days I was into doing physical healing work, people would come with me with all kinds of health issues. They wanted me to heal them in 1 hour session. And if they didn't get healed in a 1 hour session, then I wasn't a good healer. So they would go to the next healer. But how do you heal 30 years of bad diet, taking a lot of medications, drinking a lot of alcohol, smoking a lot of cigarettes, being nervous? How do you heal that in 1 hour? There's no pill for it. So people want the quick way. But if you want to get healed, yes, the healer can help you, but you also have to partake of it. You got to change your diet. You got to cut on the medications. You got to start cleansing the body. You have to change your habits. You have to stop going to that man who beats you up. I had a lot of women being caught into these relationships, of abusive relationships, going to men who beat them up or verbally abusive, or these things. You have to also willing to change. You can't just go to your doctor or healer or guru and with one pill or one gesture, everything is fixed. It just doesn't work that way. That's why you have to do the work. That's why there are very little awakened beings and majority are asleep, because they don't want to do the work. Okay? All right. All right. So very nice seeing you all. We're almost coming to the end of our academy. Robert Patterson, how are you? I see you brought your 2 friends with you. Welcome. And where are you at the moment? Are you in Denmark? Where are you guys? So I guess you have a hard time unmuting yourself. Okay, there you are.
Copenhagen,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi.
Yeah, we're in Copenhagen with my daughter and my wife.
Okay. Hi. Nice meeting you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Thank you for letting us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice having you around.
Yeah, we remember you in Copenhagen. We were at a couple of your times when you were here a few years back.
Yes.
And I was just going to mention, I use the concept sometimes of what's like, I call it the hollow mirrored sphere. And if I'm in the center of the hollow mirrored sphere, then it's like, then I see everything clearly. But if I start drifting to different spaces in that hollow mirrored sphere, then the mirror becomes distorted and I see all kinds of illusions.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's a good way of putting it. So
I know it's a construction, but it's the best one I have right now.
I get it. I understand. Whatever that works for you and whatever that helps you come back to the center. Keep using it.
What are you doing? Oh, you
There more, was it?
yeah.
All right. Great. So our next academy is going to be next Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you. My social media pages are Zarathustra 5D. Email is info@zarathustra.tv, and my website is zarathustra.tv. And a copy of this broadcast will be mailed to you, to those of you who've been on Zoom. And also, we're going to chop this video into 10 pieces and put it on YouTube, as well as the whole webinar. And it will be on my website too, as well as Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So you have a lot of different options to go through this again. Feel free to write to me if you have any questions or comments. Just send me an email, info@zarathustra.tv. And I'm going to, hopefully by next week, I'll be able to put out, as soon as I get the dates and everything about Ore, Sweden, which is going to be our retreat, I'll put it up. I don't think I'm going to be putting it up by next week. I'm going to do my best to do it, but I'm going to try to put out our online workshop. So, very good. Looking forward to seeing you. God bless. Namaste, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Mona. Nice seeing you, Mona. Welcome back. Those of you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you next week. God bless.